attempt number 2 or 3 to do this video. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Gene McNay. I'm Joel's younger brother. Man, I wish I could give a talk like Joel would have. He was effortlessly hilarious for those who ever heard him speak. I think people never quite knew if it was intentional or not, which made it all the more entertaining. His speech at my wedding started off sounding like it was going to be really inappropriate. Brother, I've been married for a while now. He'd only been married for about 6 months. I'm going to give you some advice about how you can really get your wife going and excited. What you need to do is whisper things into her ear that she really likes, he said. Eyes were wide at what he might say next. Things like chicken and bacon and noodles, and everyone died laughing. So, sorry I'm not as funny as Joel was. In my head, I've been writing this thing for probably 10 years now. After his first big heart scare, it got more real over these last 6 months. I thought that thinking through it would lessen the impact of when it really came to write it. And what I'm finding out very quickly is that grief is like sets of waves. You can see them coming, but don't understand how powerful they are until they're throwing you around and you're not sure when they'll stop, so you can catch your breath again just before the next set. Joel was and is and always will be my best friend. We were so close that I think sometimes our poor wives felt like there was a third person in the marriage. So sorry, Ginny, if it was like that for you. It was like that for Jane sometimes. And when Joel passed, Jane said to me that she's never known Gene without Joel. Joel taught so many people so much. Ironically, he's the one who taught me how to walk. He always reminded me of that and how proud he was that he taught me. He taught me to walk through the garden because the surface was so uneven, and he thought if Gene can walk through this, he can walk through anything. It seems this became a metaphor for what he taught me most of all, and that's walking through this life in spite of uneven circumstances. Watching Joel struggle throughout his life is at the core of my grief and of my joy. Years ago, I listened to a preacher's theory that the things we are infirm with here on earth will be the things that we will be strongest in heaven. It brings me no end of joy knowing that Joel has a new body and hoping that it's way stronger than anyone else's when we get there. I never found it hard to see Joel's frustration at the limitations of his body, but in spite of the hardships, he always turned his eyes towards Jesus and thanked him for his trials. When we first started playing and performing music together, Joel suggested we remake the song Turn Your Eyes Upon Jesus, which is another gift that he left me with. I wish I remembered more of Joel when I was younger, living in Tonga. It wasn't until these last few years he opened up about it, and I found out that he spent some time back in New Zealand while we were still there. The only thing I remember is him spending hours making model jet planes and how impossible it was for me to control myself with my little hands to not touch them. Inevitably I did, and inevitably they broke, and it's my first memory of his frustration with me, but his love for me, and in the end he helped me make my own plane to wreck. I loved the adventures we had together. In Tonga we had ninja clubs, trying to be Bruce Lee and Chuck Norris. In the States I helped him with his radio-controlled car racing. He would send me off on missions to try and find scrap parts accidentally dropped in the dirt for his car. In my later teen years, I can't really pinpoint when it started, but at some point we were just always together. One Sunday, in a spur-of-the-moment decision after church, we drove from Rotorua to Palmy to a burger place we'd once visited called Congo Burgers. By the time we got there, it had closed, so that we just turned around and went home. Another time, he woke me up in the middle of the night at a family camp in Wellington, and I heard him whisper, "Brother, should we go home?" So we drove out at 2 o'clock in the morning, heading back to Rotorua. Music was always a massive part of our trips, and his obsession with quality of sound definitely has had its lasting effect. I remember so clearly moments he introduced me to bands like Radiohead and Foo Fighters and Jars of Clay, his favourite band, and so many others, and jazz, of course jazz. And thank you so much, Joel, for jazz. When I first started buying music for myself, he wouldn't let me buy anything I wanted. He said, "You'll always look back, brother, at the first albums you bought, and if you don't, and you don't want them to be lame." So with his approval, I bought albums by Harry Connick Jr. and Ronnie Jordan. In later years, we hassled each other relentlessly about some of our poorer band phases. We often had vicious games of Monopoly, and the winner tormented the other till another game was played, sometimes more than 6 months later. So many video nights and jet skiing and sleepovers at the beach and slot car racing. The adventures are just so many, and I could go on and on about it. Definitely our favourite adventure together was playing music. First at youth group, then gigging around Auckland and at various events. He once booked us a gig through a workmate. It was probably our first real gig. We drove way out the back of Rotorua to a random paddock, and when we arrived we realised it was a Black Power get-together or some other gang. We only knew about 6 songs, and they were all overtly Christian. While we played, they got drunk, and when we had finished, they started yelling at us to play more, so we just had to play the same stuff again, and then got invited to have tattoos. Definitely my best memories of Joel is playing music with him. One of the hardest moments in my last time with Joel was when he asked me to pack down his drums for him for the last time. I've done it so many times, more than I can count, but obviously this one was different. I had to do it meticulously, of course, classic Joel. They all had to be wiped down and put in their bags. Joel always had a particular way to do everything. He hung out as I did it, and we reminisced about our favourite gigs. In the end, his main passion, other than Jesus, was you, Ginny and Charlie. You were the light of his life. We were flatting together in Papatoetoe when Joel met Ginny. He started coming home later and later, and I saw a new light in his eyes grow that I'd never seen before. Eventually he told me about you, Ginny, and was always glowing when he spoke of you. We've never had a conversation where he didn't express his love and thanks to Jesus for you, and then in time Charlie as well. You were the blessing in his life, and I know he was in yours too. I've said lots about Joel, the real stuff. I was lucky enough to say to him in person last year when we got to spend 3 days together. Just me and my big brother one last time, and I keep those conversations for me. The laughing and the crying and the sharing and watching movies and eating. I'll never forget those 3 perfect days and our final big hug as he walked out the door to go get Charlie for school. After that, I looked forward to any time he called and I could hear him say, "Brother." Joel loved Jesus most of all. When I was weak, he pointed me to him always, especially in the last few months. He would tell me how bad things were physically, and always finished with something like, "It's a gift from the Lord for me to endure," and then proceeded to ask how I was doing and encourage me. I really don't want to stop. I've got so much to say and so much love to express for my brother, but obviously things have to end. Joel's favourite band was Jars of Clay. They probably saved his life more than once with their ministry. I know Joel had his bouts with depression, as many of us do. So Joel, I'll finish with some of the words from some of your favourite songs. If you put your arms around me, could it change the way I feel? I guess I let myself believe that the outside might just bleed its way in. Maybe stir the sleeping past, lying under glass, waiting for the kiss to break this awful spell, pull me out of this lonely hell. What I get from my reflection isn't what I thought I'd see. Give me reason to believe you'd never leave me incomplete. Will you untie this loss of mine? It so easily defines me. Did you see it on my face? That all I can think about is how long I've been waiting to feel you move. And I'm still fighting for the words to break these chains. And I still pray when I look into your eyes, you'll stare right back down into something beautiful. Close my eyes and hold my heart. Cover me and make me something. Change this something normal into something beautiful. All of these things I've held up in vain. No reason nor rhyme, just the scars that remain. All of these things I'm so much afraid, scared out of my mind by the demons I've made. Sweet Jesus, you never let me go. Sweet Jesus, carry me away from cold of night and dust of day. In ragged hour or salt-worn eye, be my desire, my wellspring lyre. O gaze of love, so melt my pride, that I may in your house but kneel, and in my brokenness to cry, spring worship unto thee. I love you, Joel. I'll see you there soon.